Hey guys, welcome to another random reaction with Harmony, with me finding out what Americans think about Hungarians. So I'm kind of curious, because since I'm Hungarian, I'm kind of curious on what people who have traveled to Hungary think is crazy or weird, or what they love about the country. So I'm here for another live reaction of that, and this one's called American Reacts to Hungarian Lifestyle, which I'm very curious on what they're going to say, so I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Let's get to finding out what's this about.
I loved the transportation.
Yes, our transportation is great.
Is really good with their public transport.
Oh yeah, we are.
Fantastic. By bus or train or what we call a villamos, which is kind of like a tram, or the metro in the big city of Budapest. They do have a subway, the metro system. My absolute favorite was the trains. I loved taking the trains. I remember my first experience.
Oh, thank you. It makes me so happy.
Because I'd never ridden a real train before. Actually, that's a lie. I did once. And then my second train that I got to ride on, it was so much like the Harry Potter trains where you had your own little compartment with the sliding door. It was fantastic. When I served in Budapest, in the big city, I was actually in a city called Kispest.
Kispest, yes.
Next to it, but we would use the metro a lot. And
it's cheap transportation. It's pretty good.
Like trying to not hold on to any of the bars and just see how well you can balance. So Hungary definitely has its own culture. They have their own customs and traditions.
Yep.
They're fun. I like them. One of the biggest ones that I needed to get used to was how to formalize the older people in the way that you speak.
Yes.
With the way that the language works as you're talking to them. It's not that you're saying you or like directly speaking with this person. It's kind of like a third person thing, like, oh, how is she feeling today? Or like, how does it please you to, or how does it please him to be today? Or something like that. And so the conjugations of words were very different.
Yes.
It was different, but it was fun. Once I was able to do it, I was intimidated by it at first, like how to do it, because it was just so hard. Yeah. It was hard to learn how to talk to an individual to begin with, so then to change your grammar.
Even as a kid, I was like scared.
Hungary does have a lot of the same foods we have. They have cereal, they have yogurt and pastas and bread and meat. Like there's a lot of things that they have that we do too. It's really hard to come by brown sugar. They also
very hard.
Don't have much peanut butter. It's very rare that you find it, but then it's still very different there.
Every time when my family visited America, we brought back like a big bucket of peanut butter because we love the Jif peanut butter or the Peter Pan peanut butter. There was barely any good peanut butter literally like in Hungary, and my mom knew that, and like, okay, every time we go to the States, we're gonna bring back a lot of peanut butter, and hopefully it'll last us the year before we have to get some more in America. So I remember that like struggle of getting good peanut butter. Paprika? Yes, we do.
We call it paprika, but
paprika.
Then they have a lot of meats that they're well known for. They have, I guess it's comparable to sausage, but they have something called kolbász.
Kolbász.
Put in a lot of their foods.
Yes, it is.
What they make.
We love our kolbász.
One of my favorite things to have though is something they call modarte. And that translates to bird's milk, but it's not that. It's obviously bird's milk.
I love modarte.
Have milk, but it was made with eggs, and the consistency of it is kind of like eggnog and pudding, I guess would be the consistency.
Yes, in some way.
And they take the egg whites and whip them till it's kind of more of a solid foamy type consistency, and then they put that into the liquid portion. It's kind of hard to explain, but it was just so good. It's sweet. It's more of a dessert type thing. But
yes, it is.
The bakeries, they have bakeries all over the place. It was kind of bad. I would go to them more than I should have. I had a lot of their ice cream. In the summertime, they have ice cream shops on almost every corner.
In Budapest, yes, we do. We have a rose.
There's something different about
rose ice cream.
It's so good.
It is good.
Seeds show up in all sorts of things.
Yes.
So that was neat. Yeah, the breads were great. Yeah, I could go on forever, but it was good. So
that's what I miss the most.
The Hungarian.
That's the one thing I miss most about Hungary is the baked goods. I think that's everywhere in Europe, like freshly baked stuff, and it's just cheap too, like not cheap, but like really good, and it just comes out fresh and just, oh man, I miss Zemla so much. I miss it. And my sister says like, well, if you love Hungary so much, why not go home? Like, I would, but I feel like I have more opportunity here. But I just, the food I miss so much back home. It's so different here.
And I would say it's pretty similar to what we have here in the States.
Really?
Kids go to school.
Okay, yes, that kind of lifestyle.
They have family time.
Yes.
People, just like we are. And so a lot of the things they do are a lot of the things that we would do, that they want to be happy. They want to have success in life. They eat like we do. So they're people, rather than just going out maybe once every other week or every week to go get their groceries. It's a lot easier for them to go get things fresh every day. So they have these markets and the bakeries that they can go to, so they can get fresh produce, fresh baked goods every day. And so a lot of the people will do that. Work is also, it can be hard to come by. It is a little bit different there, how the school works. I think they have an extra grade there. I thought it was interesting that they don't typically serve food, like they don't have the cafeteria for the students at their schools. They take their own food. So they have like a little bit of release time between each class. At least the schools that I was in, because sometimes we had the opportunity to teach English in the schools. There was one city where it worked out perfectly. We were able to go about once or twice a week to teach some of the teenagers in their high school, and that was when I became aware of it. I was like, oh, they don't have lunchtime, like they don't have a cafeteria, and they're like, yeah, we just eat in between our classes.
It's more like the older one, after 8th grade, I think it's then.
Subject, the teachers came to them. So there was a specific class where they were in, that was their classroom, and then the teachers would rotate classrooms. That was interesting.
Yes, yes.
Every school
yes. Rotate classrooms. That's what it was. I remember having the same classroom for 4 years. But I was from 1 to it was 1 to 4th grade. We had all our subjects in that one classroom, and that was completely normal. It was like normal, and it was just teachers rotating, going upstairs, downstairs to different rooms. And it was awesome. And I remember when going to American school for the first time, I'm like, wait, why are we late? We don't have our own homeroom class? Like, we have to actually go to a different class? Like, some in Hungarian schools, we did have different classes for languages, and of course PE, you go outside or you go to the gym. But for maybe choir and maybe art and languages, you left the classroom for those. Any other kind of like history, math, science, okay, maybe science was in a different one, but we didn't have science when I was that young yet. So, but we learned, but any history, math, literature, all was in the same classroom. Like, that is normal for me.
I found that to be common. Something else interesting.
It is very common.
What I really loved about the culture there was shops would close for the weekend. Like on Saturdays they were open till a certain point.
I remember my mom planning out okay,
once it was getting later in the day, a lot of the stores
when to plan to go to those stores because they close on certain days. So yeah.
That's not something common that I would see here back home. A
No.
lot of the malls are open. A lot of the grocery stores stay open.
Which is not a bad thing, but
because it showed that they actually cared about having family time. They
Thank you.
wanted to be home with their families. They
Yes.
wanted to have a break.
Yes.
The busy day-to-day things they do throughout the week.
Thank you.
And so on Sundays,
Thank you for realizing that.
Sometimes it was like there wasn't so much going on because people wanted to be with their families, and that was more noticeable in the smaller cities.
Yes, very much in a small
Budapest,
city.
It wasn't as common. I wasn't ever really in Buda or Pest on Sundays. I served in Kispest when I was in the big city. But there were smaller places like Szolnok and Kecskemét, and even in
Szolnok,
Pécs.
Kecskemét, Pécs. You went to Pécs? That's really far south.
If you went out and saw people out and about, they were usually with their families, like with their kids going on walks or on their way to their church services. So
yes.
The architecture in Hungary is so beautiful, just because there's so much history there.
So much history.
I had a lot of fun just looking at the buildings.
There's still bullets in some of the buildings even
so
today.
Pretty. And
from
I had
history.
some opportunities to go with my companions to visit different castles.
Yes, our castles.
And it was just always so fun. So they have big cities, they have their smaller towns, but then they have villages, and it's just so fun.
Very cultural.
And yeah, this family, they wanted to cook a meal for us. And instead of just here where you just either put it in the oven or cook on a stove or whatever, they actually went out in their yard and built a fire and had this big cauldron that they cooked
Goulash.
with,
very common.
This stand and this
in Hungary, very
just
common.
Hanging over this fire, and it was just really neat. I was like, oh my goodness, that's not something you would typically see. You would not see that in the big city.
No.
But in this small village, it was just so chill. It was so normal to do that. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna cook over this.
It was for
fire,
all the
this
workers coming home
thing.
for the day from the fields, and that was a normal dish to make. That's the history of goulash.
Stories. That's what we called them, or 10 stories. They were the big, gray, they were usually gray cement buildings from the communist era where they had communism there. So that was something that you could see a lot of. And there were places where you'd see a lot of graffiti. And I like graffiti. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I'd see some artistic walls and streets of things where I was like, that is so cool. But obviously it's not good to deface public property, I know.
No.
It was interesting. You could just feel in the air. You could still feel the weight that communism had on the country, on the Hungarian people. So yeah, it was happy, it was fun, but you could feel that. You could feel that they had been through a lot. You could feel that the people were recovering from a really hard era. And you would get talking with some of the people.
She's gonna make me cry.
People definitely had a lot more to say about that time because they lived through it.
She actually
Some
understands.
people even saw when, before communism was there, lived through everything, and it was just interesting to hear them compare how life was to how it is now. A lot of the youth understand what happened as well around World War I, where Hungary it actually was reduced in size. Today it's only 1/3 the size it used to be. Now you look at the map
We
of
will
Hungary and it's a
never
lot
forget
smaller.
that.
The boundaries
We
of it are a lot
cannot
smaller
forget
than what
that.
it used to be when it was a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And so, yeah, you hear people talk about that a lot.
You
Hungary
will.
has been through a lot. They've been through a lot of hardships, a lot of hard experiences
Thank
in
you.
the country. But
Thank you
they're
for
so
acknowledging
strong.
that.
They're strong people. And sometimes it was
You're
hard
proud
to get them
Hungarians.
to open up at first because they would be skeptical because of the things they've been through, that sometimes they weren't as trusting to new things, that the older people would be like, oh, no, like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
They were a bit standoffish. But
Old
once
nannies and
you
bachis,
got
yes.
to know them, or when you were able to get through,
True.
they're just some of the most
Very
loyal
true.
people, and you come to see how strong they really are, how they are an amazing people. One of the most memorable experiences has to do with a sunflower field.
Yeah.
I love sunflowers.
Sunflowers, we have them a lot.
In the summertime, they have the most amazing fields of sunflowers, and they're just, I don't know, almost breathtaking, at least for me, just because I love them so much.
Thank you. They are beautiful.
Just go on forever.
I make a lot of sunflowers, so sunflower seeds, so yeah.
And people do harvest them, like they use them to make oil, they use the sunflower seeds, so they are put to use. And
all the time.
I remember when I was called to go serve in the city of Solnok, they drove us out there, and I remember passing all these sunflower fields, and it was the first time I had seen them for myself, and I just thought, oh my goodness, like I want to go there.
So beautiful.
I want to take pictures there. I just want to go be a part of that. So in Hungary, you'll see a lot of what we call kézimunka, and that translates to like handiwork or like hand stitching, or sometimes they do paintings on ceramic or porcelain.
Yep.
And something that I did get was where there was this.
The háziáldás! No way!
All of the flowers and the words.
Oh, that's very common.
They're very, very skilled with their hands, with what they do.
And you got the háziáldás. That is so awesome.
In Budapest, in the capital. So Hungary is a gorgeous country. I love it. I immediately fell in love with how green it was. Hungary has all 4 seasons. They have summer, fall, winter, spring. They have it all. It's a pretty humid climate, even though they're not right by the ocean or anything. It is fairly humid.
I miss the humid weather so bad. I don't like dry weather, which I'm here in California.
There's the Tisa River, there's the Balaton. They have bodies of water, they have rivers. It gets really, really hot. So even though the temperature may be at a certain degree, just because it's humid, you just feel so much more and you're just sweating. Most of the places don't have air conditioning. It's beautiful.
That was hard.
Winter, it gets really cold. It just goes right through your clothes and to the bone. It snows, it rains a lot. I loved the rainstorms.
I miss the rain.
You get a lot of rain and thunder and lightning and
I miss those so much.
In the northeastern part of Hungary, you'll find a lot of farmland. I'm sure they still have a lot of that out in the west is short.
The author has that.
There's an area called Hortobágy.
Hortobágy, yes.
Surrounding villages and cities out there where they do have a lot of farms, ranches, and stuff like that. And of course, there's big cities, and in other cities as well, you would come to places, to little markets where there would be older women that would be selling flowers, like bouquets of flowers, and it was just so sweet to see them. And once I did take the opportunity to just stop and visit with one of the women, and I bought some flowers from her because they were just so sweet. Some of the money.
Yes.
I don't know how this is going to show up.
You actually have money?
Show and tell. What they use in Hungary is called forint.
Forint! Yes! Mátyás! Rákóczi! Oh my goodness, yes.
2000.
I think we just changed our 2000 to a different color.
Conforms is it's almost like, for example, if we take the 2000 and drop the 2 zeros on the end, and then divided that 20 in half, and it's about 10 American dollars.
Oh, that's one way to think it. Okay, I just have a currency app that helps me know the difference between, like, okay, if I see, like, how much is $10, and I have a currency app to just let me know, like, okay, it's that much. In forint, I'm like, okay, that's expensive. But, yeah, wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing. That's amazing. I love it. And I'm kind of grateful that they shared that, and I'm just happy about that, so, yeah. That's awesome. That's the thing she said just brought back again so many memories. Just my home. I miss my home so much. And I want to go back and visit, of course, in the summertime, but I need to make enough money to do that because international flying is very expensive. And that's why I'm here in the States, so that if one day, hopefully, I can make enough money and then I can have enough to go back, fly home for the summer for like a vacation one day. Because I don't think I can do that if I worked in Hungary. I mean, maybe I could. Depends on what job you get in Hungary, but I just this is called the land of opportunity, so I'm here for that opportunity, and hopefully make some money and that I could go home, and I don't know where the future for me is, but I would love to stay in the States because I think there's a lot of fun opportunities. Like, I have my like fun wild side that I think I could be in a funny TV show or voice acting here. So yeah, I'm here for the opportunity. But as always, Hungary will always be my home, and I will miss it. I always miss it every single time. But so that's my home. So thank you guys for listening and just watching my reaction to this. It's kind of nice to see that some Americans actually understand and appreciate Hungarian culture, Hungarian lifestyle, and for me it's sometimes like it's a reflection of like, yeah, that's my home, that's my culture, that's what I grew up in, that's normal for me. And Americans maybe just be confused, like, wait, what? Like, this is normal? But you guys, like, we all grew up in different cultures, different cities, different things. So like, city life and country life is completely different, even in Hungary. So like, as she said, like, they cooked foods like over fire. That's definitely like in villages or out in the countryside. That would never be in the city unless you went to a restaurant that did that. But no, like, that's what I love. Like, there's different cultures, even like, or different Hungarian lifestyles depending on where you are in Hungary. The same thing in America. Like, I feel like the east side is very different than the west side. So even north and south, like, very different. So it's just very interesting and fascinating that this Hungarian or this American just talked about it and just made me feel like, thank you for appreciating Hungary and the hardships that happened in the past and just the lifestyle that's different. And maybe it's weird to you, but it's normal for others, and that's just how we grew up, and it's the way we lived our lives. So it's very interesting, and I still love it today, and I cannot wait to go home one day. And I don't know if I'll ever live in Hungary again because of opportunity here or wherever the future leads me, but if I were to actually like raise family, I would love to raise it in Hungary. So hoping for that one day. But thank you guys again for watching, and if you want me to see more videos like this, please comment down below and give me a like, and please subscribe for more videos if you really want to see more of this, because honestly I kind of want to see more, but I don't know if you guys care, but I kind of do. But yeah, so please let me know in the comments, and I'll hopefully see you guys next time for another live reaction with Hungry Harmony, with reacting to how people think about her country. So yeah, awesome. Hungry Harmony is going to be out. Hungaria.